welcome back to Mini-Modelog. You'll notice something a little bit different this week. I have my partner Vicky with me. She's obviously the person who kind of keeps me in check and also allows me to do this entire thing in our back room when I take over the entire back room. I kind of ban her into the TV room, which is next door.
If only you could see the mess.
Yeah, so this week is obviously Halfling week. You probably saw from my Instagram that I posted that I'd bought all things Halfling from the GW stuff. So we've got the team, we've got the dice, we've got Spike magazine, and we've got the pitch. Now, the pitch, I'm not going to undo. You've probably seen 100 pitches in your time. This is now my third pitch that I own. So Vic's going to find out a few things about what I actually own now, because I own 3 of these. I obviously own this one, the Nurgle pitch you can see behind me, and I own obviously the 3rd edition pitch. So in this one, it's a double-sided pitch like most of the others. So in most of these, you get 2 and 2 dugouts.
Does it have any goals?
No, because it's American football, not football that you think of.
Boring.
Vic knows nothing about Blood Bowl apart from that I play it a lot. And I go to events a lot for it, don't I? Basically. Yes. So, it's an American football game rather than an English football game.
Right.
The team we're doing today is the Halflings, and it's Blood Bowl on difficult because they're not the best team in the world to play with.
So is that hard as in a rock hard?
No, that's hard as in they're really difficult to win a game with.
Oh, okay.
So yeah, the pitch, it has its own rules like the Nurgle one does. With this one, you've got rural idle pitch, and there's a couple of rules. I don't tend to use the rules on the back of the pitches. I tend to just go with the standard rules in a game. But you've got the Dark Elf team on there, which you know I own already, don't you? So yeah, it's Dark Elf and Halfling. So I think the Halfling team is like the 7th or 8th team I've unboxed from Games Workshop now.
And do you have all these?
Yes.
8 teams?
About 8 or 9 teams, yeah.
No wonder we've got no room.
Told you she'd find out stuff that she doesn't necessarily know. Because obviously we've now been doing GW teams for quite a while. And of course I've got the 2 original 3rd edition teams, which I've had before. So I think I've got about 9, 10, maybe 11 teams now.
Go.
Knocking about. That's just Blood Bowl, you know that, don't you? So anyway, let's get on with it. So we'll first talk about Spike magazine. So obviously this is Spike 5. Obviously the other ones, I've done all 5 of these now with all the 5 teams that they come with. So I've got 5 of these as well. So this is, as you guys know out there, this is the rules document for the team. So it includes the rules regarding how the team kind of works.
Is that a Halfling?
Yeah, that's the new one of the new Halfling star players, which is available currently. You can only get a model for that from Hungry Troll. So look out for that online. I'll put a link down below for that, so you can get an actual really cool Halfling on a ram.
How much money have you got to feed this Hungry Troll to get one of them?
I don't know. I'm not quite sure on the price on that, but it will be in the link down in the description. Do check that out. So in here you've got obviously the picture of the models you get in the box. They name them all in here, and they also tell you which ones are the new positionals, which we'll talk about in a second. You've of course got everything you get in the normal Spike magazine, so bit of background. Pictures are done by all sorts of different artists. Unfortunately, they don't credit them. There was a big video and a big mention about this with a recent art book that they don't credit artists, don't Games Workshop at all.
Well, kudos to the artists.
So, and obviously you get the page which is the one page which really matters, which is the page with all the information on regarding the team, if I can find it. Wait there. There we are, found it. So obviously that's the most important page for rules, because it has what your team costs are, what their individual skills are, what their individual movement, strength, agility and armor stats are. And obviously if you know Blood Bowl, you'll know the Halflings are not the best team in the world. They're not the greatest and they're not the easiest to use. There is the legendary one-turn touchdown where you use a treeman to throw your Halfling across the board, and then the Halfling walks to the touchdown area.
Oh, okay.
Which you can do. With the flings, you need treeman, because your treeman can pick up a fling and throw it down the pitch.
That's treeman.
Yeah. Obviously, at the moment, you'll be well aware that the treeman you can get is Deep Root Strong Branch from Games Workshop, which I have one of. My good friend Chris, who you've seen on the channel before, he's lent me his version. We'll be unboxing that next week. Hi, Chris. So that'll be next week's video, which is Deep Root Strong Branch. Obviously, you can get Carla Von Kill, which has been out for a while. That's another model from Forgeworld.
Carla Von Kill.
Carla Von Kill.
Females getting.
Yeah, so she's a female player. You've got Cindy Piewhistle, which is another female halfling.
And she ate all the pies, didn't she?
And she ate all the pies, yeah. Obviously, Morgan Thorg, that plays for every team. Rumblo Sheepskin, which is the guy who rides a ram. Big Jobbo Hairyfoot, Captain Cullender, Nedley Veruca, Willow Rosebark, which I think is going to be available with the... I think that's just come out with the Wood Elf stuff. I'm not sure. I'll check that.
That's a bit sus, that name, isn't it? Big Jobbo Hairyfoot.
Okay, read into that what you will. So that's the page which everyone uses for the rules. So you get the big thing about the new Halfling team is that we've been given some new positionals from Games Workshop. Up to now, you had just Halflings and Treemen as the mainstay of the team. You've now got Halfling Captures and Halfling Hefties. So Halfling Captures, instead of just having Dodge, Right Stuff and Stunty, which is the 3 standard skills for a Halfling, they have a couple more. They have Sprint and they have Catch. So
why don't they put Cindy Piewhistle as a Hefty?
I believe she's just classed as a Halfling.
Oh.
But she has different skills. Star players have different skills.
Okay.
So there's 2 new skills for the Catcher, and then Hefty has Dodge, Fend and Stunty, which is so he has the Fend skill, which is slightly different as well. Then you got your Treemen, which have Mighty Blow, Stand Firm, Strong Arm, Take Root, Thick Skull, Throw Teammate and Timber. And your reroll count is a 60,000 gold apiece. Now, when you're paying for a team, Vic, bear in mind, Vic's never played. So this, for any of you new people to Blood Bowl, I'll give you a little rundown on how everything works. So when you purchase a team, you can purchase up to 11 players to field on the field, on the game. And each player has a cost. So each player, you have 1 million gold, and each player has a cost, and you have to buy your players from that 1 million gold. So you've got your Halfling Hopefuls, which are 30,000 apiece. You've got your Catchers, which are 50,000 apiece.
Yeah.
Your Hefties that are 50,000 apiece, and your Treemen, which are most expensive at 120.
Right, got you.
And then you got your rerolls at 60,000 because you need to buy rerolls. That allows you to reroll things in the game. So that allows you to roll the dice again if you fail, basically, on the roll. Obviously, you can tell we've lost her already. Vic's not a gamer. She doesn't play the game, but she wanted to come and join me on the...
I like the figures though.
Yeah, you like the figures though. So, and also you're only allowed a certain number of certain things. So you're only allowed up to 2 Treemen. You can't have more than 2 Treemen in a team. And you can't have more than 2 Hefties and more than 2 Catchers. You can only have 2 each of those, but you can have up to 16 Halflings in a team.
Right, okay.
You with me? Or
No.
have you lost it? Okay, so I've quickly talked over a few of the star players. Obviously, like I said, we'll be doing Deep Root Strong Branch next week. I'll probably be getting a Carla Von Kill at some point to go with this team, so we'll probably do her at some point as well. And also, if I can get hold of one, I'm going to speak to Hungry Troll and try and get hold of one of the Rams as well. Which, if you've not seen that model, it is so cool because the Ram isn't stood like on the floor; it's stood going upwards like this. It's awesome.
Is it a big model?
Yeah, it's quite a big one as well. And the Deep Root Strong Arm's massive. Strong Branch is absolutely massive. It stands about that tall. It's really big. Obviously, we've talked about the Iron Golems team on the channel before. And if you want to check that one out, I'll pop a link down below. And I also know that Hungry Troll have got a tree Halfling team coming as well, and I'll pop links down for that as well. So do go check out all the other Halfling teams available. But obviously, we're going to move on from Spike Magazine. Obviously, it's got everything that you've seen in my previous Spike Magazine look at, including like really cool images. There's also our good friend to the channel, Pete Nifton's story at the back, which is obviously the cartoon story. And as promised, Bob Bifford's arse. If you remember the interview I did with Pete, I'll pop a link for the video up in the corner. There's Bob Bifford's arse in this one.
Who's Bob Bifford?
Bob Bifford is Bob and Jim. They do the commentary on the computer game version of Blood Bowl.
Oh.
And but Bob used to play. He's an ogre that used to play. So in the back of Spike magazine, he always tells a story about the team that when he played, like a Halfling team or a Dark Elf team. He does a little story.
What's the story behind his bum then?
Well, the thing was, I did an interview with Pete, which you can see. I'll pop a link up. And he told me that in this version of Spike, we get to see Bob's bare arse, and there it is. so just to show Pete lived up to what he was saying, there's Bob's bare arse. Do go check out Spike 5. I don't know if they're going to do an annual for these again, because obviously we got an annual for the first couple of Spikes magazines. I obviously have the Undead Spike magazine, this Spike magazine. Whether they wrap those up in an annual at the end of the year, we don't know, but we shall see. So that's the pitch and Spike. Obviously, you get the dice. These are the standard dice you get for Blood Bowl. They've done themed teams, team-themed ones, should I say. I've obviously got Skaven ones, which I use all the time when I'm playing my league matches. And in there, you get your 3 block dice. You get your 3 block dice in green. Green and white, most of these are. Your 2 D6s, which for the 6 marker, you've got a knife and fork, which is really cool. And then you get your D8 in green and white, and it's like a pearlescent green, and then your 16-sided dice as well. So they're your dice.
Have you got pictures on those, numbers on those, and they're different shapes?
Right, so the picture ones are for when you throw a block in Blood Bowl. You roll these, they're block dice,
right.
And then the results on them depends on what happens to the individual. Okay. So if you roll the arrow, it's a pushback. If you roll a skull, your guy goes down and you end your turn,
yeah.
And so on. So they're all different emblems for that. And then the D16 is for when you have to do a random result against your team, because you can have up to 16 players, so it tells you when you get that random result which player it affects.
Oh, okay.
And then your D8 is for scatters within the game. So when the ball scatters about, when you drop the ball and it scatters about, you do it by a D8. She's learning. And then, of course, your D6 is for all normal D6 rolls in the game. So that's what your dice are for. Let's get on to the models. Let's get on to the bit which they're going to be interested in, which is the new models. So, obviously, it's a 12-man team like it is with all of the Games Workshop teams. It comes with 2 catchers, 3 different types of hopeful, 4 different types of hopeful, 5 different types of hopeful. That's interesting. And 2 hefties, sorry. So it's 4 different types of hopeful, 2 hefties and 2 catchers. You get your turn and re-roll counters, which in this occasion is a hand holding a fork with a sausage on, which is really cool. You get your double-sided team tokens, and the balls in this occasion are pasties. So all the different balls are pasties.
There as well.
Oh, one of them's a butty. So you got 2 pasties and a butty. So that's really cool. I mean, most of the balls have been themed in the teams, like the Nurgle ones were Nurglings and so on.
Let's open it. Let's open it.
No.
Why?
We will open it, but
Come on.
tell her she wants to get in on the model. So I'll now change the camera angle because obviously we now do the unboxing so they can see clearly.
Right, okay. She said that before.
You'd have thought she'd watch it. You'd have thought she would, support, watch it, mate. Anyway, so we'll take a look inside. We'll take a look at how the models are going to put together. I'll then put them together off camera, and then I'll pop them on the spinning table, and you guys can have a look. Once you've had a look, I'll get Vic. I will come back with Vic, and we'll get Vic's opinion on what they're like. Because obviously she's not a gamer, but you get an opinion of whether she likes them or not. So I'll change the camera, and we'll unbox the Halfling team. Right, let's take a look at the Greenfield Grass Huggers. Vic's gone to watch telly in the other room. If you liked having her on the channel, do let me know. Pop a comment down below. We're going to take a look inside the box, but before we do, we'll take a look at those dice, because I just wanted to show you them up close. So obviously you get the 3 block dice, the 16-sided, the 8-sided, and the 2 D6s. They're in a really clear block, like green and white. I mean, you guys can probably see quite well, even with them on the box. But I'll just bring them closer to camera for the if I can get it to focus. There we go, and there's the emblem on the dice, which is really cool. So those are the dice. We'll just pop them to one side for now. There we go. But let's get into what you want to see, which is the models themselves. So much like the Goblin team, if you haven't seen me do the unboxing for that, it'll pop up in the corner in a minute. This team comes in a plastic container, because I've already had a quick look. Obviously you get your instructions and your transfer sheet. I tend not to use the transfer sheets. I do keep them, but on this one you've got basically all the numbers, the positions, and then you've got some funny different emblems, including a steaming sausage, knives and forks, and a lump of cheese. So depending on how you wanted to theme your team. But that's the transfer sheet. Obviously you get the instructions, tells you to use glue, clippers, and a mold remover. I quite like the images are super clear. I think they can do that with these models, because really you only need to add maybe 1 or 2 parts. The most complex ones are the ones at the bottom there with a hopeful and a hefty, and you get different heads, which is quite nice. I quite like the fact you get different heads, so they can look slightly different with the similar pose but with a different head. So that's what I'll be using to put them together. Obviously on the back you get a demo team, if you like. So tells you how many halflings, catchers, hefties, and hopefuls, and then rerolls fan factor. And they also take a master chef there and a halfling hot pot, so they're taking the full, and they're only 900,000, so you've still got 10,000 left over to spend. Maybe a cheerleader, I don't know, but it gives you a demo team to kind of roll out straight away. I've used the demo team for the Dark Elves, and it was a good, interesting match that I had. I got beat, but can't win them all. So let's take a look at the models. So you get 2 sprues that are the same, and then a third sprue which have the extra bits on. So we'll take a look at the extra bits first. Let me just pop that to one side. So the extra bits. So you get, like I said, hand holding a sausage on a fork, which is sizzling, 2 pasties and a butty, and then the coins. So the coins obviously have the BB sign on one side, and then the knife and fork emblem, which comes up time and time again with this team, on the other. So obviously you've seen them with most teams, and these are of course themed very much for the halflings. Really like these. I've always loved the coins and the re-rolling tokens and such. I think they're really cool, and I've always liked the different theme balls you can get, which is really cool as well. So that's the extra, sprue if you like. Then you've got one which has the hefty on, and one that just has standard halflings on. This is the standard halflings. You get 2 versions of this, and obviously you've got 5 heads there, a couple of different arms, and 3 different bodies, and of course a couple of legs and things like that to put together. Obviously make sure you follow the instructions. These are all numbered, so make sure you follow the instructions with what goes where when you put them together. So you get 2 versions of this sprue, and then you get 2 versions of this one. This is obviously the one that includes the hefty. You can tell that by the fact that it's a 2-part model, front and back, and the front armor sort of glues onto the back of the body, similar to how the Nurgle team went together. And you get 2 versions, like I say, of this sprue, and that's front and back. You get your 12 bases, your standard Blood Bowl bases with the holes in. I'll show you one of those. You've probably seen 1,000 of these, but you get 12 of those as well to put your models on. And that is the entire halfling team. So what I'll do now is I'll pop them together and do a spin round on the turntable so you can see all the different models. I'll probably do the 2 hefties and the 2 catchers separately, and then just a spread of what some of my flings look like. And then we'll get Vic back in to tell us what she thinks of them. So the first thing I thought I would show you is the positionals. First, you got your 2 catchers. I've used different heads. The stances are the same, but I've used different heads just to give a different look. This guy I think looks like Wee Willie Winky. I think he's brilliant. Then you got the 2 hefties. These are basically the fatter members of the team and the fatter halflings, and these are the ones that came in 2 halves body wise. And again, you got 2 different heads for those. I'll then show you the 4 individual sort of stances for the halflings themselves, so let's take a look at them. So here you have the 4 other stances. I've used different heads on the other 4 models, but you get the 4 different stances. I really like this head coming up with the squirrel around his face. I think it's really funny. They've come up with some good imaginative heads, everything from colanders to cooking pots to teapots, and of course the one with the squirrel around his head. I really like each individual model. I think they all look great. Let's get Vic's opinion. So we've got the halfling team in front of me, and I'm going to get Vic's opinion. Obviously that's the whole team. We've just bobbed them on the box. We've had a little look through. I mean, my favourites are kind of the guy with the squirrel on its head, which you've seen just in the previous footage, and the Wee Willie Winky guy with the kind of night hat.
Where is it? Wee Willie Winky?
Which is the catcher. I quite like the fact you've got some new positionals for the halflings. You know, they've never had positionals. It's a new thing. And I like the fact that they've given you multiple heads for virtually every single stance. I think there's only one stance which has the same head, which is that one. But I think it looks really cool. I love the fact that you get that in the team. I mean, which are your favourites from what you've seen?
My favourites are the one with the squirrel on its head. The one with the colander. Yeah, I couldn't think.
Colander on its head.
Colander and the teapot.
Right, so what do you think of them as a set? They're nice little set of models?
Yeah, the detail's nice in them. They're very cute for halflings. Why have they got pans on their head?
Well, that comes from their kind of team theme. One of the inducements in the game is the Halfling Chef, and basically the Halfling Chef allows you to steal your opponent's rerolls.
Right.
So it's a kind of a theme thing. So you have a chef, and they can't get helmets big enough, so they use pots and pans instead. and I think a couple of them have got plates on their back as armour and things like that. It's only really the hefties that can fit a proper sort of Blood Bowl helmet on, which is...
So the hefties, these little fatties.
Yeah, they're the fatties. Little fatties.
Little roly-polies.
So, yeah.
The weebles, and they don't fall down.
Oh, dear. Let's hope I don't get sued by Weeble now. And obviously the coins are really great, and I love those
Sausages.
Turnmica with the sausages. Yeah, you and sausages. And then, of course, the pies.
What are people going to think?
And
Butty.
the butty. They're really small, and obviously I don't really use the balls as such. I've got a token for that, so I don't really use them as part of the game. They're nice to have. And a nice team. But thanks for watching this unboxing. I know it was a bit different with Vic on board this time. What did you enjoy being on Mini-Modelog?
I did.
Good. We may see her again at some point. Let us know in the comments down below if you do want to see her. And also say hello to Alan and the Flings.
Hello.
So Alan, guys, nice. These are for you, obviously, because we're with Two Drunk Flings for the Fling teams. So look out for Deep Root Strong Branch next week, and I'll see you next time.